Let's get you making a lot more sales on social media. That's been the big request that has been coming in from you guys. Obviously, the art of selling on social media is more than I could possibly cover in one video, but I want to walk you through the very basics because I think if we draw this out together, you'll see my very simple sort of infinity loop strategy that I use with all of the health entrepreneurs in the Practitioner Accelerator Mastermind. And then I want to dive into one of those particular steps because I think it's the one that will start getting you the most traction on social media. And it's also the one that can relieve your social media posting from feeling like this really separate body of work. If you use the trick that I'm going to teach you today, then you just going about your day and being you is actually going to be part of your social media. Okay. So it should remove it from being something, oh no, I forgot to do that. I have to do it before I go to bed, or I have to get up an hour earlier in order to do my social media. I want to walk you through one of the things that the community members in my world have been most grateful for me sharing that has helped their social media. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and switch over to my iPad here so we can draw, because I think you'll really get it if you see this. Okay. Social media can be very complicated as an organic traffic source for your business, right? And traffic is just the marketing word for attention, right? It's getting your business more attention online, okay? There's three kinds of traffic. Remember, organic, paid, which is advertising, and partners, which is affiliates, okay? So right now, today, we are talking about using social media as an organic attention-getting source for your brand, okay? So that, I want to preface our conversation today with that, okay? Here's how I want you to think about it, okay? I want you to think about, let me draw this out for you, okay? I want you to think about your social, okay? So this is your own personal social media, okay? So your own personal social media, in my mind, has 3 bits that you need to tackle before you can get into the other side of this. It's kind of messy here. Let me see if I can do this better so we have room. Okay, so yeah, think of it like that, okay? So it's literally going to be an infinity loop, okay? So you should start, okay? You should start this way, and I'll walk you through the main 3 steps that you need to get right, okay, before you move into the other side of this equation, which is stages. Okay. And stages is when you're actually ready to reach out to other people and continue this moving in such a way that you have exponential growth. Okay. So this side of the line is incremental growth. And what I mean by that is when you start out on social media, okay, you're actually just building a relationship with your audience. That growth is going to be relatively incremental, meaning step up a little bit at a time, okay, versus when you actually get to the point of connecting with other people who already have audiences as big as yours and hopefully a lot bigger. That's actually going to be exponential. Okay. And exponential, obviously, is where the money starts getting maximized a lot higher. Okay. So that's the social media environment that I want you to build. Okay. So I'm setting the stage of that's where we are going with this. Okay. It's not where you are when you start. Okay. So if we want to pay attention to where we are now, okay, that means that we need to stay on this side of the line. Okay, so we're going to talk about what we're doing over here. Okay, what we're doing over here, it is definitely crucial, right? Because I want you to cover both sides of the line. Okay, but we can't do the other side. We can't do the stages side over here until we have already mastered, well, how do we need to have our social media set up in order for us to successfully use the other side of this infinity symbol to grow like crazy, okay? Because ultimately that is what I want. But if you don't have this part done right, good luck getting over to the other side with any success, okay? People are not going to be interested in partnering with you, in putting you on their stages, okay? And stages can be taken literally, like, oh, come speak on my stage. But when I say stages, I mean Maybe it could be an Instagram collaboration. Maybe you could be on their podcast. Maybe they do a regular live, right? Like a Restream or Riverside or one of those that's going live on YouTube and Facebook and like all over the place, okay? So if somebody already has good content going out, then they have a stage. If they have an audience for that, they have a stage. That's what I mean by stages, okay? So it's a 6-part process all total, but what we're going to focus on is this side, okay? So again, we're going to focus on this side over here. And the reason being, again, is because you can't do the other side unless you have this side taken care of first, okay? So the first thing that you need to do on social is decide whether or not you're going to cultivate a personal brand or a brand name, okay? And the personal brand is you, right? You're always going to be you. Your name is not going to change. Maybe, I guess, if you get married, your name is going to change, but that's just a matter of switching out your last name, right? But you will always be you. So my personal choice is that you cultivate a personal brand. Okay, so we'll put that on here. Now, the other choice, you guys, would be that you cultivate a brand name. So you're either going to choose personal brand or brand name. If you need help with that, I highly recommend that you check out Simple Social School. That is like a ready-made DIY. You can get into it. It's very affordable, and it takes you through one social media post every day that we're doing live together, and it's explaining what is the logic behind this, why are we doing this. By the end of that stint of Simple Social School exercises, you'll know exactly what you're doing. You'll know the difference between all the different kinds of posts. It's a forced mechanism for you to do a post every day while you're learning about why you should be doing that type of a post. Okay. So if you don't know the difference between a personal brand and a brand name and the advantages, please take advantage of Simple Social School. Long story short, personal brand, you're always going to be you. That's my favorite for you to cultivate. Brand name, you should cultivate a brand name instead of your own personal brand, if and only if you plan on selling that entity in the relatively near future. Okay. All right. So I'm going to assume that you've got this one covered, and I'm hoping that the majority of you will be cultivating a personal brand because you're always going to be you. That's not going to change. Okay. So even if you decide to change your niche or something like that, you yourself are not going to change. You are the human that you are. Okay. So now let's look at the next one here. So let me just kind of highlight these as we go. Okay, so this is number 1, okay, which we already talked about here. You have to have that done. This is number 2, okay, and then we will get to, in a second, number 3. Okay, so what is number 2? Number 2 is you need to use what I call the client attraction trifecta. Okay. And the client attraction trifecta is really a mechanism that helps you do social media as you go throughout your day, or as you share a client struggle or share a client win. I'm going to walk you through that piece in detail. Okay. This right here is the piece that we're going to primarily focus on, because this is the piece that I want you to start implementing right now in order to get in the reps, like to get comfortable on social media and to be rotating through the 3 different types of content that are going to pull people into your world. Okay. And then the reason is I want that to set you up for being able to create revenue, okay, through engagement. And engagement is just, by engagement, I mean people interacting with you, okay? Interacting with your social media accounts, whichever one you pick, okay? So number 1, cultivate a personal brand. My preference is a personal brand. If you choose to cultivate a brand name instead, that would be because you're selling soon. Number 2 is going to be using the client attraction trifecta, which I'm going to walk you through right now, okay? And you need to do that piece in order to practice the effective tactics for actually generating revenue online, okay? And we'll touch on those at the very end, but I want to spend the majority of our time together going through what is the client attraction trifecta and how can I go ahead and use that to bring more people who are committed to reaching their health goals using the processes that you, the health entrepreneur, has, okay? So let me go ahead and get us a blank sheet here. Okay, I'm going to use this for us to draw out the client attraction trifecta. Okay. So this is the model that we're going to be using. Okay. This is the model we're using. I'm trusting you to create your own personal brand, to know what that means, to have your bio, your stories picked out if you're using Instagram, your pinned posts, all of that good stuff. If you don't know what those things are, if you don't know what, pinning your top, pinning your top stories, which is called highlights on Instagram. If you don't know how to do that, if you don't know how to pin your top 3 reels so they stay at the top of your, of your own personal Instagram page, then you should get into Simple Social School and you should take advantage of the Cultivate a Personal Brand. It's going to walk you through how to do all of that. Okay. But what we're going to focus on is your main content strategy, because my goal for this today is that we actually reduce your stress load about being active on social media. Okay. And in my belief, okay, if we get you doing a live, however you want to do, on whatever platform you want, going live with your people, I think that's so important, okay? If we get you doing a live with your people and we get you following this trifecta, you should be golden. That's all that you should have to do. And then somebody helping you with social media, which if you're like, that's too expensive for me, I can't possibly help it, you need to reach out to us, because in the members in our Practitioner Accelerator Mastermind, we show them how to get a very inexpensive overseas, VA that helps just repurpose all of your content, old and new, so that you do have a high volume of content going out on social media, but that you personally don't have that on your plate. You have very minimal part of it on your plate, and that's you going live with your people, right? And then you being responsible for posting this client attraction trifecta, and you can choose to do that if it's going to be part of your live content or like a story, which you might want to film live every day. Or if you want to delegate that to your social media VA, all right? And bear with me today, you guys. I realize I have a stuffy nose, but my commitment is to show up for you every day regardless. So I have a little bit of a sinus thing going on, but I'm going to do my best to get you through this anyway. So bear with me, okay? All right, so I want you to start deploying the client attraction trifecta, okay? Client attraction trifecta. Okay, what is that? Okay, it's basically 3 different types of content that you're going to put out. Okay, the first one is you showing your work. Now, let's talk about what sorts of things could be included when we're talking about showing our work. Okay, so what kind of things do you do every single day, probably, that could count as you showing your work? Well, let me think of a few examples, okay? Well, for me, this example is you might see me drawing on my iPad and wonder, how the heck is she drawing on her iPad? And how does she have that little rectangle video of her? And how are her brand colors like going around the outside of that video? That's cool. I want to know how to do that, okay? So that might be an example of me showing you guys my work, right? And if you want to know how to do that, put that in the comments and I will walk you through how to do that, okay? If you want the cheat code for that, go to editlessvideo.com. Editless, EDITLESS video.com. And you'll see exactly the process that I use to do that. It's amazing. Okay. But that would be an example of me showing your work, because I'm literally drawing on the iPad for you right now. And to give someone the behind the scenes on how they could do that for their people, that would count as a show your work post. Okay. But I want to speak specifically to you because you are a health entrepreneur, an MD, an ND, a PA, whatever, magical certification, a health coach, a nutritionist. You are a health entrepreneur, okay? What does it look like for you to show your work? Okay, well, let's say that you get a lab test. So you're about to see a client and you open up their lab test and you see, holy cow, look at these numbers on this lab test. No wonder patient XYZ has been having ABC symptoms. If you have one of those aha moments, obviously you would be HIPAA compliant. You would not be revealing this patient's information. Like, obviously we're all adults here. We all know what we're doing in the health space. Okay. But if you saw something that was like, oh my gosh, this person's lab results and their symptoms, this explains everything, right? Oh, I totally get it. I can't wait to go and see this patient today or hop on a Zoom with this client today, because won't it be wonderful to be able to illuminate exactly what's happening, why it's happening, and therefore which part or process of your method, your protocol is going to help them put that problem in the rearview mirror. Okay. That would be an example. Now, again, we're HIPAA compliant, but we might say, you guys, I just wanted to pop on. And this is like you with your phone, right? Let me grab my phone. This is not like highly produced video, right? This is you just hopping on, right? On just your regular old phone. Okay. If you want my favorite apps that I use for recording quick short form video on my phone, they're all in Simple Social School with links and everything. Okay. But I would simply hop on here and be like, man, I've been seeing this woman. We're going to call her Donna because her name's not really Donna, but we're going to keep her private. Okay. So I want to hop on and share with you. A client has been complaining for me that her hair has been thinning and the outside of her eyebrows have been going, and she's experiencing a little bit of muscle wasting. And I just got her hormone test back. And I want to show you some indicators that are really showing me exactly why this is happening. And you might talk through a few of those. And then you might say to your phone, and if you want to run your labs, then go ahead and click the link below this video to get access to the test that I use for my clients for their hormone testing. Bam. Now you just did a show your work. That was something you were going to do anyway. You were going to look at that lab result anyway. You were going to connect the dots for that client anyway. And instead of having to come up with some random content that you feel like talking about or you think might make sales or get followers, you're just literally showing you being the genius that you are every day. Okay. Now I can hear it in the ether. Nobody's going to care about that. Nobody. And I'm like, listen to me. Okay. The whole triangle works together. Okay. When people see you doing your work for other people, can you see how that might entrust them to be ready to say, oh, I want that person's expertise focused on me because I want my problems to be put in the past. Okay. So show your work. Talk about anything that you're doing, anything that you're up to. For example, you also might be headed into a conference on how to, on what's the latest with hormones or thyroid or hair miniature analysis, anything that you're doing, studying, attending. You can also be showing that you're doing that, okay? Because that shows people you are the type of person who stays in the forefront of that particular niche, that particular field. And people want to work with the best of the best, not lazy people who are not, doing active work, okay? So now let's go on to the next one, okay? Over here, the second piece, we are going to call this share. Okay, we're going to call this share client wins. Okay, why is this one important? Okay, well, this one is social proof. Okay, and social proof can come in lots of different forms. Okay, social proof can be like a testimonial. All right. And I recommend here for our Practitioner Accelerator Mastermind members, we have something called the Blockbuster testimonial process. And we literally, anytime someone sends us sends a practitioner a nice message or a thank you email, or they DM them. So, oh, this is finally starting to turn around, anything like that. They have a little automated response that they paste in and they say, oh, I'm so happy to hear that. While we're celebrating your wins, would you mind using this link and going to the page and explaining exactly to me what was going on before, what you're experiencing now, and what you're celebrating. And then they just send people to that link and they have all of these cool videos are collected. And that page that you send them to has an instructions. It reminds them like there should be light on their face, how to start the testimonial, what to include, and how to wrap it up. So they don't drone on forever, but you actually get a nice, brief, short feedback or testimonial from people. So it could be a testimonial. Okay. If you don't have a testimonial directly from people, that's okay. You can also use case study. Okay. So you can say, hey, I had this client. Obviously, we're being HIPAA compliant. Okay. We can totally do that. So you can do a testimonial, which is feedback from your clients, or you can do a case study, which is actually like you walking people through, oh, this is how they came to me. This is how the patient presented. And then this is what we found on the labs. And then this is what we did together. And this was the end result. And if you want the result, DM me and I'll give you access to the test that I trust. You would link and connect them to your lab test funnel. If you don't have a lab test funnel built, why not? It's one of the most profitable things. If you haven't got my book on that whole topic, go to Amazon and grab Get Cash Pay Clients, or better yet, go to getcashpayclients.com cashpayclients.com, because when you buy it directly from me, you get an implementation portal. So do it that way. What was I thinking? Amazon. No, go to getcashpayclients.com and then you'll get the whole implementation video set from me. Okay. So you can do testimonials, you can do case studies. The other thing that you can do is like screenshots. Okay. Now, obviously, if you have a group program, or if you have a private Facebook group for people with a specific condition that you help, let's say thyroid, for example, and you have a supportive community in there, and somebody is bragging about the success that they got thanks to you, and they're thanking you, a screenshot of that is great. Now, remember, you have to stay HIPAA compliant, which means you need to take a screenshot of their Facebook post, and then you'll want to have your EA or do it yourself. You want to grab that, put it into Canva in the right size that you're going to use for a post. Okay. I'll give you a hint for this too. Okay. What I do is I turn my phone on I call it grandma setting, but that's not really nice, right? Like, I make the font size really big on my phone just for a minute. I go into Facebook, I go into the group, and then I'm scrolling through and I look at just that comment. The reason I do the big font is when I put it in the post, I want their post word for word to be legible. So I sometimes have to adjust the text size that I'm viewing on my phone. But then once I get the post in view on my phone, I take a screenshot of it with my phone. I drag that into Canva, or I have my EA do that, drag it into Canva. And then I just simply put like a haze over their photo so you can't see it. Or you can put a little, anime icon or whatever over their face so you can't see who they are. And then I black out their whole last name. So you can just see their first name and that's it. You can't tell who they are. I just want to be, like safe and protect everybody. Okay. And that is another great way. I dropped my Apple Pencil. Okay. That is a great way for you to share the feedback that you're getting on social media or in comments or in your Facebook group, anywhere like that, and use that as a way to share client wins. Okay. The reason that we are doing share client wins is social proof shows people, oh, they are getting results for people who are just like me. And when they see that, that makes them much more comfortable in working with you. Okay. Now, before I share the third one with you, I want to remind you that when we were looking at the entire model for selling on social media without stressing out, we know that ultimately we're going to have to build this whole like infinity symbol. We're going to have to work on both sides of this equation, okay? But we can't even get started with the other side until we finish this loop right here, okay? So if we're going to finish this loop right here, our client attraction trifecta needs to get us ready to move towards revenue through engagement, okay? Revenue through engagement is essentially having a really good, what we call sell by chat conversation, okay? And that is us being social on social media. Because what a lot of us do, you guys, is we put our content out on social media and then somebody might start following us, or maybe they make a comment, or they just watch it or heart it or share it, and we don't do anything back, okay? If I'm on your post and I like it or comment it, you or someone on your team should click on my face, right? Because when you go into Instagram, that little heart section on the left-hand side, if you're in the back end of your Instagram, is everybody who commented, liked, shared, took any action on your Instagram profile, okay? So when you open that heart, you're going to see everybody who looked at your content, read your, all of it. You're just going to see all of it. If you see me in there and I made a comment like, oh man, I really love this. I didn't know that about the thyroid medication. That's so enlightening. Then you or someone on your team would click on my face and you would message me and you would say, thanks for the comment, Joy. Are you yourself currently struggling with thyroid? Start the conversation. Get them talking about themselves. That is your avenue to sales. That is your avenue to connecting with people. And even if you don't connect and make a direct sale with them, you're creating the social capital to be the brand that they look at as the expert in that area. And even if they themselves don't have a problem, it might be that like, oh, my sister has that problem and my mom has that problem. And then they might connect you and then business starts rolling in for you. Okay. So don't forget to be social on social media. Just don't put your content out there and then ghost people who like it, comment it, share it, follow it. Go and message them. Be brave. Reach out. Say hi. If you're the one to extend a hand to them, then you can also be the one to extend the hand and lets them pay you for the services that you provide. Okay, just think of it like that. Okay, let's go back over here. So keeping in mind, the final step in the client attraction trifecta is to move us toward revenue through engagement, which is basically chatting with them. Okay, then what that means is we want to have this third step be something that gets us highly engaged with those people. What could we possibly do to get those people highly engaged with us? Okay, we are going to call that hand raisers. Okay, hand raisers are important because these are your access to move toward revenue. That's what's important about it, okay? Now, the way that I see it, there's two ways to do hand raisers, okay? So let's cover them both, okay? The first and the easiest, okay, so we'll do number one here. The first and the easiest is gonna be just via chat. So via chat. So on Instagram, that would be a DM, and on Facebook, it would be Messenger, okay? Okay, so if we want to do hand raisers, and we're going to use green for this one because this is where the money starts rolling in, okay, we have two options. Number one is we would offer a hand raiser and we would give it away via chat or direct messenger, okay? I should circle back. Now, what you might be wondering, what do I mean by a hand raiser? A hand raiser literally gets your audience to raise their hand and say, me, I want that piece of information. I want that piece of help from you, okay? And when people raise their hand, they're also saying they might need you. They might need to be your patient or client or coaching participant or program enrollee, right? So when we say hand raiser, we're meaning you offer them something that gets them into conversation with you, okay? So the first way that we would do the conversation with you, the easiest way, because you don't have to build a funnel for it, would just be, hey, if you want this, comment one word, right? The reason you want to get in the habit of like comment one or two words is because then you can automate it, right? You can automate it if your CRM, your customer relationship management allows you to automate it. If it doesn't, and if you don't even know what that is, don't worry about it. There is a service called ManyChat. I'll be sure that the link is in the description, but ManyChat allows you to automate the delivery of that free asset, tool, guide, checklist, whatever you want to give them access to. You can automate the whole conversation of delivering them that link using ManyChat. That's why I love this, okay? The other thing about this is if we were to offer that hand raiser as what I call a lure, you might call it an opt-in, a lead magnet, all the same thing. I just call it a lure because I like that term better, okay? That would be the second way, okay? So the second way of giving away a hand raiser is to actually do it through a lure, right? And that means like an actual funnel. Okay. And the funnel would be, okay, I have my lure again, which for me is just a lead magnet or an opt-in. Okay. So when you're chatting with them in Messenger, in DM, whatever it is, instead of directly giving them that asset in the chat and starting to chat them up and ask them about you and then trying to move them towards, you know, getting on a call with you or a consultation or investing in your online program or your one-on-one packages, whatever you have. Instead of trying to do that all via DM or Messenger in chat, you can actually go ahead and send them to a funnel. Oh, hey, that asset is available for you right here. And this can be automated using ManyChat too. And you're actually going to give them to the link. You're going to give them the link to go get the asset. Okay. Now, the advantage of this is that when you send them to the funnel to go get that lure, which could be anything, right? You guys, it could be a checklist, a guide, a PDF, a set of tips. It really isn't a video. It doesn't matter. Anything you want to give away. Okay. So when you send them to the funnel to get that lure, the advantage for you is now you have their name and email. And when you have their name and email, you can start sending them a sequence that can nurture them and get them to see the value of you and working with your brand and investing in whatever it is that you want them to be investing in, whatever you're selling. Okay. So that's the advantage. But there's two ways to think about that, right? My current belief is I would like to do a lot more filtration over here. So if you think about the division between number one and number two, if we're looking at this side of the line over here, okay, so if we're looking at this side, the advantage of this one is that you're screening. Okay, what do I mean by screening? If we use option number 1, we are screening. So instead of filling our email list with a bunch of people who are not buyers, we're actually screening them via chat. And then we only want the people who on our email list. So we would only have people opt in from those chats if they wanted to make a sale, right? And I like that. So let's say that you had a book, it was only, I don't know, $9.95 or something. We could screen for them. And if it didn't seem like it was moving towards like booking a consult with you or getting started with you, then we certainly could try to enroll them in a lab test, a supplement, buying your book, anything that's like a low ticket price. So we could try that. Okay. And then the advantage of going this way is that you have the person in your CRM, in your email list. Okay. And that you can actually automate all of these so that eventually you're getting them to buy. And that's just a personal choice. Okay. Honestly, I have my brand set up to do both. Okay. I have my brand set up to do chats to deliver the hand raisers. And I also have my business set up to deliver the lure via a funnel page where they take the person's name, email, phone number, and now I can start nurturing that person to become a member of our community. Make sense? Okay, but both of these you can see are moving towards the sale, okay? And that's what's important here. So this whole hand raiser piece, okay, is how we begin the process of moving people toward revenue, okay? We're either going to be doing that via the nurture sequence or we're going to do it directly in the chat, whether we do that via DM or whether we do that in Messenger. Okay. So if I wanted to simplify for you, what should you, the brand leader, be doing on social? You should be making sure that you are rotating through all 3 of these. Okay, all 3 of these should be showing up in your social media so that you're constantly cycling through showing your work so people see you as a professional getting shit done for people, actual results, right? And then showing off those results and then inviting people to either like work with you directly, to buy your book, to get access to a lab test, to get a supplement. Things that are going to motivate them to move you into the green, right? This is the first step in the revenue through engagement process. Okay. And if you want the rest of the revenue through engagement process, if you want that, you would get into Simple Social School, and Simple Social School literally gives you sample sell by chat conversations that then you customize based on who you're helping and how you help them and exactly what your offers are. Okay. So the sell by chat is fully customizable to meet your brand's needs. Okay. So I'm going to recap this really quickly. Okay. So to recap, you can't get active on social or you can't really start getting exponential with your growth on social until you take all 3 of these steps, 1, 2, and 3. Okay. You decide between a personal brand or a brand name and you get that ready and set up on social. Okay. I'm assuming most of you have that or you wouldn't be worried about selling on social. Okay. And you start implementing what we covered today, which is the client attraction trifecta, in preparation to start earning revenue through engagement. Okay. This is our money piece. And this is what we want to move towards. Okay. Once we have those 3 things, nailed, then we are ready to ramp up for exponential growth instead of incremental growth. Okay. That's where we're going to move into the 3 steps that are on the stages side of this equation. Okay. I don't want to overwhelm you with that in today's video. Okay. But there's 3 steps. They are simple to learn, simple to execute. But for now, I'm going to leave you here with what we've talked about today. And I want you to get started with the client attraction trifecta. Okay. So that is showing your work, sharing client wins, and offering hand raisers. And you have 2 ways you can offer the hand raisers. You can just offer them right up in chat and start having conversations with people. That's a lot less technical work for you because you don't have to build all the funnel pages, right? You can just get them into a call with you from chatting with them, okay? Or if your business is a little more tech savvy and you do have the capacity to build funnel pages, opt-in pages, thank you pages, content delivery pages, the automated emails, if you have the capacity to do that, then you will be using this side over here. Okay. I recommend that you have both ready for your business. Okay. Hopefully that is very helpful for you guys. Please subscribe to the HealAtScale channel, comment, DM me. I'm at Real Joy Houston over on Instagram, or you can email me at joy@HealAtScale. I want to know how this is working for you guys. I want to know what you want more of. And most of all, I want to be celebrating your wins from implementing the client attraction trifecta. All right. I'll take care of you. I'll see you guys soon.